17?
Yeah.
17. And how long have you been using medical marijuana?
Since March of 2019.
But how would you describe in your own words what medical marijuana has done for you in terms of what medication you were on versus now?
So, when I was first diagnosed with epilepsy, they prescribed me this pill called trilaptol, and I was taking it for a while, and it kind of did work for about a month. I was seeing some results, but as I kept taking it, and they also, I forgot to mention, they kept upping my doses, and at one point I was at 900 milligrams, and that's when I really started to become super, like, zombie-like, and it was making me really sick, and we kept going back, and they were like, well, this is gonna be the only dose we can offer, like, blah, blah, blah. And so all of my friends and family noticed the difference in me taking that high of a dose on the pill.
That's when you were getting kind of zombie-ish.
Yeah, that's when I really started to fall apart. And so then I had a friend who also had some marijuana, and he was noticing, he already knew the benefits of it for epilepsy, and I really didn't at the time. Yeah. And so one night we were out, like, watching some live music, and I started having one of my seizures, and I just really was not having a good time, and he just offered it to me and was like, hey, why don't you try this? And I was like, I mean, okay, why not? Sure. And I did, and 5 minutes later, completely snapped out of my seizure.
Yeah, you had already done that before.
Yes, I had tried it.
You were comfortable with it, but we were saying earlier, like, we both, when we first did it in high school, we didn't really know.
No, yeah.
You were used to it.
Yeah, I had definitely done that before, but smoked before, but I never tried it for, like, to treat my seizures. That was the first time, and I tried that, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, completely snapped out of it.
Wow.
And so I kind of, my parents are very open people, open-minded, not judgmental, and so I had mentioned that to them, and they also noticed how the pill, I was reacting with the pill that they were giving me, and so my parents, we went to the Nature's Healing Center to kind of talk about it, and we had also done some research on the benefits of THC with epilepsy, and so my parents were pretty much on board, and then I've been doing it since, like I said, March of 2019, and I went from, like, 3 or 4 seizures a day to, like, once a week or even less than that, so, yeah.
And how many times a day do you puff normally, or vaporize?
So some days I really don't need to, but most of the time I will do, like, I don't know, I really just take, like, 1 or 2, and then I'm good for a while unless I start feeling a migraine, like, once I come down or something. But usually just 1 or 2 to treat it.
Think about, like, the prescription, 900 milligrams, like, what is that going to be the rest of your life?
Yeah.
What if you can't afford insurance that or, you know, what if it goes out of stock? And at least this, it's
solid.
Easy to find. You could technically grow it yourself. I mean,
yeah, and it's pretty
amazing.
It's not expensive. Cheap,
yeah. Easy to find. And back when you had first tried it back in high school, what was we talked that we were both against it. And then I felt like the more I saw friends just sort of being relaxed, calm, not too crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I finally I did sort of succumb to the peer pressure.
Yeah.
Did that happen for you? Or
yeah. It did. It was actually, like, so I really I never wanted to try it, but I had a boyfriend at the time who was really into it and doing that a lot, and sometimes he would kind of, like, make fun of me for not doing it.
Nice. Yeah, I got made fun of.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so one time I was just like, okay, fine, like, I'll do it, and I did it kind of a lot, and I liked it, but then I started getting to the point where I didn't anymore, and I felt like me and my friends were just so
kind of the lazy bug thing.
And I don't know, I just started to not feel like I wanted to be around it anymore.
Yeah.
But that's just recreationally, you know. But then once I started to treat it for my seizures, I was like, this is a whole nother, like, a different thing too. Because also, I was doing it just for fun. I would do it in large quantities, you know, like bong rip after bong rip, you know. And I didn't realize that you could smoke weed without being completely stoned. You know what I mean? So that was another reason I started to not like it.
Take the edge off instead of being completely.
Yeah, because I didn't want to be like stupid high all the time, but I didn't know there was any other way.
For sure.
Yeah, and I didn't know there was any other way. And then now I just, like I said, I take 1 or 2 hits, and I still feel it, but it's not like intense, and all it's doing is helping, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
I'll sit there and just be like, so when I was trying it as a teen, my dad passed away when I was 14.
Oh, okay.
That made me, the next couple of years, just sort of on like a downward spiral, where I never did try drugs, but I can remember definitely wanting to try like hard drugs.
Harder stuff.
And so when people say that marijuana is a gateway, in a way I do feel like, okay, you passed that gateway and you're like, oh, this wasn't so bad. Do you feel like there's concern for either yourself? Did you go through anything like, did you always know you're never going to go that path? Or did you come to that path?
Or question it.
Ever think like you might try that stuff? Because it can be a gateway. I can see how.
I agree. Personally for me, can I just say whatever? Okay, so.
Yeah, turn it off.
No.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say, can I just say whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys talking
curse
girl
words,
talk?
anything. That's fine.
We're doing an interview.
It is girl talk. It's an interview.
You guys are not allowed to talk girl talk.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway.
I have one hit of that?
Yes,
at
please.
some point?
Yeah, I just refilled it.
Since I'm joining the girl talk.
We're doing an interview about how.
Why not? Like, seriously, like, I think alcohol is probably worse than that, you know?
Absolutely.
100%.
How many deaths by marijuana? Oh, none to this day.
No, I know.
None recorded.
And why not? Why not legalize it and sell it, like, at small portions legally, and you can tax it, you know? Why not?
And regulate it.
And regulate it.
And let people out of prison that are...
Yeah, that's
The thing
such
that
a
scares
stupid
me,
thing.
though, is like the oils. Like, I know you said you guys have the vape pen. Doesn't that scare you
No,
a
I
little bit?
vaporize this.
Okay.
We don't use
scares-
The
oils.
pens are bad, kind of, with your lungs.
I don't...
They have that sticky.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
Truth be told. I mean,
There's
this
too
is
many,
easy
like,
to get. This is...
It hasn't been around long enough, and I feel like there's little things popping up already.
Well, even the synthetic, I'm like, whoa.
I know.
Well, they're the only. So the deaths, there are some deaths happening with the pens, but it's not the THC. It's that they put the sticky stuff in there. I don't know. I was reading something about it, but that's causing more deaths than like the Juul.
The added elements.
Yeah, because it like completely messes up your lungs, like suffocates you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I do have a pen, but I have to have it for school because I can't smoke, bud at school. So what I do is if I ever have a seizure or a migraine at school, I just go in the bathroom, just take one small one.
And they're allowed. They know you have it. Like they allow it or no? I don't know.
No, I tried.
Would they let you or no?
No, we actually tried to get.
Like that, it's prescribed.
Yeah, we tried to get the school on board, but they were like, no.
Wow.
No way. So the pens don't have smell like the weed, you know. So I just secretly go in the bathroom and then I'm okay.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, because I can't like light up at school, you know. So, but I don't do it unless I like the pen. Yeah, no, I don't do the pen unless I absolutely have to. You know, like if I don't have my bud around or at school. But other than that, I just do the bud because that stuff doesn't hurt my lungs like the other thing does.
And they've already proven there's like a lot of medical benefits, like as you can see,
Yep.
like to it. So,
Yeah. Anytime I have a seizure, I take a puff, and it completely snaps me out of it.
Gone, yeah.
It's gone, yeah. 900 milligrams of trilopitol,
Wow.
and it made
You don't
me...
even take that now?
No, I stopped, because it was making me like a zombie.
Yeah.
Like all my friends and family... Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
I loved your video, by the way, Catherine.
Thank you. I haven't seen it yet.
Awesome.
Oh, it's
But-
so good.
Thank you.
What are you guys doing out here, kids?
Girl talk.
Girl talk.
We're doing an interview.
Yeah.
Should we just...
If they let me stay. Stay. Yes. Okay. Continue.
Okay, because I remember.
The gateway.
Yeah. So, when I started, once I started, like, hold on, as I was smoking, like, more and more and more, your tolerance gets...
In high school or with this?
High school.
Okay.
This was,
Oh, with the boyfriend.
yeah, like, while I
Your
was...
tolerance.
Yeah, before I used it for medicinal purposes. I was taking, like, 4 or 5 bong rips in a row, and still just being normal. Like, I wasn't, like...
Wow.
Yeah, and so then I got the idea that things like acid and shrooms wouldn't be that bad either. So I never thought about doing anything other than that though.
Because
But-
it's nature-ish. And
Yeah.
you could see that might
Mhm.
fall in.
So me and my friends would go camping and take shrooms or whatever. So yeah, I definitely can see it leading to other things for sure. I've been offered other things, but I never really wanted to. But yeah.
Did your
since-
parents talk to you about those sorts of things ever? A lot? Never?
Like the gateway stuff?
Yeah, heroin's bad.
Yeah.
Things
Oh,
like
yeah. Well, so me and my mom love watching, what's that one show? It's like, I don't remember. It's about drug addiction.
Oh, Intervention?
Intervention, that's it.
I've
Yeah,
watched
I've been
a lot.
watching, yeah.
Heritage.
Right? That'd be so funny.
Like, I have none of them ever. They'll mix a little marijuana with the addiction thing, like the alcohol.
Yeah.
But no one notices they're never about marijuana.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mom, you were watching it.
Yeah, so I kind of grew up watching shows like that.
That's cool.
And so that's kind of when my mom would be like, that's what heroin will do to you,
Wow,
and stuff like
good
that.
for her. I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch it with Ambria. For
Yeah.
sure. I couldn't not. Like,
Yeah.
at least she can look back and say,
Yeah.
my mom tried to tell me.
Yeah, and so like I said, I've been offered things like that, like at parties, it's really small town, lots of different stuff going through. Because I moved here my sophomore year, like halfway through it. So,
Okay.
I've been offered that, and I would literally think about what the shows, the intervention,
Wow,
and I'd think
good to
about
know.
what my mom told me, and just seeing, like, how people would just take it once and then get addicted to it. And I never really wanted to be like that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just, So I never thought of doing that. The only thing maybe even slightly close to that is just acid and shrooms. But I don't do that anymore
And
either.
what would you say to, like, your daughter who's saying, well, Mom, I like weed. Can I try acid and shrooms? Or, like, what should I say to my daughter? Because the only thing I've ever done is weed. I've never even had beer because I didn't like the taste or the smell. So I've had hard alcohol, wine, and weed. And that's my name, Crystal Meth.
Yeah.
You think I'd be, like, offered it? No. No one ever did. Now I've been offered, like, ecstasy pills,
Yeah.
things like that at parties. But me and Tiffy are just like, it's not.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Is that stuff bad, like, to the people that have never tried it?
So I think it can be, for sure. Although I don't think
Do you
that's...
lose complete control ever?
Well, so depending on the dose of it, there's only been once where I've taken, like, a pretty strong dose of it, just because, me and my friends were out camping and we were just going wild, and so I took, like, I think 2 or 3 tabs of acid that night, when usually, like, half of one is okay for me.
Wow.
But I was just, everyone else was doing it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I did it, and that was the worst trip of my entire life. Like, I was seeing, like, demons in the forest.
Wow.
I was just freaking out. Like, I'd look at the ground, and, like, rocks looked like heads.
Wow.
Like, I hated
Wait,
that.
you saw what in the forest?
Like, demons. Like, dark shadow figures. Yeah, dark shadow figures. And, the whole world was just, like, doing this. And I was like, oh, I should not have done that much. And, yeah, the thing that sent me into the bad trip was one of my friends was standing by the fire, and his shoulder actually caught on fire. And I saw that, and that instantly, I just started seeing everything so wrong,
Oh my gosh.
because
Yeah.
it takes that much to set you off into something horrible. But yeah, so I think it can, I don't think it's something good to do regularly at all, because your whole perception of reality changes. But I think, like, just to try for the experience, I don't personally see anything wrong with it.
Wow.
Large amounts, not really. But that's just because it can scare you. I've seen news articles about kids that commit suicide on their acid trips because they're so scared.
Yeah.
Because, it's a 10, 12-hour trip, and nothing really brings you out of it. You can't sleep. You just have to wait it out, really.
Wow.
And I've seen, like I said, articles, kids kill themselves because they feel like they can't escape that fear of while they're on that drug,
Oh my gosh.
So that's why I'm saying, like, big amounts like that, I don't think so, unless you can just handle it, but a lot of people can't,
Is
yeah.
shrooms sort of a step down from acid, or are they on the same level?
So, in my opinion, shrooms, for me, I don't have as intense of a trip on shrooms. I haven't done it in a while, but from what I remember, I just remember the shrooms being more like, and this sounds weird, but almost more like organic feeling. Like the type, I don't know, that sounds weird, but the type of high you have seems less like intense
Trippy.
and trippy. It seems more just like the world is breathing.
Wow.
Yeah. It completely changed my perspectives on the world, but yeah.
And was this when you had the fire experience, like right before you moved here? Has it been a long time since that?
The fire, like on that guy's shoulder, yeah, that was the summer before I moved here. Yeah, so that was summer going into my sophomore year. The thing I struggled with a lot is my teachers almost didn't believe me that I had, like, seizures. I mean, it was on my charts and stuff, but, like, I'd tell them, like, they'd be like, wow, you weren't here for a week, And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I'm really struggling, and they'd just be like, okay, like, sure, And so they didn't give me any help or support, and so that really stressed me out, because a lot of the time I really could not make it to school.
Sure.
I just couldn't. And even most of the time when I went to school, I'd just be sitting there so confused and disoriented, or my head just, like, pounding,
Exactly. You don't feel good.
Yeah, like, I felt like I just really couldn't even focus, And my teachers didn't believe me, and I was falling behind in school, and then my trileptal was making me feel horrible, and, so I'd say last year was probably the worst, stress-wise and anxiety-wise, because I constantly felt like everyone thought I was faking it, Like I was just being lazy and didn't want to go to school.
Wow.
And so, I don't know, I kind of took that personally a lot, because I just wanted people to understand and not judge me for something I couldn't help. And, yeah, and just falling behind in school, too, because I've always been a pretty good student. That affected me a lot, too, and I don't know, so that was probably my worst time. Yeah, stress and anxiety.
And now you're just, like, how many absences generally a week, if at all?
Usually I might have, like, one every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Because I still do, have my seizures and migraines. Like, actually last week was pretty bad for me for some reason. Sometimes it just comes out of nowhere again. So last week I missed 3 days of school, but that's not very common anymore. But yeah, I get good grades this year too, so that's good. And my teachers are a little more understanding, not as much, but a little
You're
more.
Junior?
I'm a senior this year.
Senior.
Yeah.
Okay, you're almost done.
Yeah, I'm almost done.